Remember all this data we've been working with about our shapes? So far, we've represented how many of each type of shape we have using tally marks, the number of shapes, and a pictograph. And today we're going to represent that same information on a bar graph. You've learned about bar graphs this week and that they are just a different type of graph to help us represent how many of something we have and compare how many of different types of items that we have. Isn't it great that we already have the information organized in our tally chart so we can use that information to create our bar graph? A tally chart is always a great place to start when you're going to graph because remember its job is to help us organize and quickly count how many of something we have. Then we can take that same information and create a different kind of visual graph to make it easy to see, like a pictograph or the bar graph that we're going to create. So let's start with our squares. How many squares do we have? Well, I don't have to go back and count them from that very first day we did this activity. I can look at my tally chart or my pictograph and see that I have 6 squares. So remember, in a bar graph, my bar that I create goes up to the line for how many of something I have. So my bar graph for squares would go up to the line for 6. If I drew the lines to help us, I could see that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 squares. I could even number them if it would help us see how many we have. You will probably not see them numbered. That's just a way for us to see as we're learning how to use a bar graph. What you will likely see is this bar colored in solid, just like we colored in our shapes here. It would be colored in solid, but you would know that you could look right across from the top of the bar over to the side to see how many of that item we have. So here we have 6 squares. Let's add our hexagons to our bar graph. What number should my bar stop at? Yes, it should stop at 11 because I have 5, 10, 11 hexagons. So I'm starting at 0. Did you notice there's a 0 down here at the bottom? And I'm going all the way up to 11. So my bar goes up to 11 because I have 11 hexagons. Now, one easy way to check to see if I have my bar in the right place would be to just use something straight, like I could use my marker, or draw a line from the top of your bar across to the numbers to see, does it line up with the right number? And I can see that mine does. If I drew a line from 11 across to the top of my bar, you could see that my hexagon bar is at 11 because I have 11 hexagons. And notice for this one I colored it in because this is the way you will see bar graphs. Remember, this was just to help us see why our bar graph was this height. It was a height of 6 because I have 6. This bar for hexagons has a height of 11 because I have 11 hexagons. Let's add triangles to our bar graph. Where should my triangle bar go? It goes right above the triangle and it should have a height of 4 because I have 4 triangles. I'm looking to see, do I have my bar in the right place? I want to make sure I stop at the right place, and I'm at 4, so I can go ahead and draw my bar for my triangles. So now we have completed our bar graph. We've shown 6 orange squares, 11 yellow hexagons, and 4 green triangles because that's how many we had when we originally counted them. Our tally chart, our pictograph, and our bar graph each represent all of the same information. They just show it in a little bit of a different way.